You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This is episode 170 of Retired Racehorse Radio on the Horse Radio Network, part of Equine Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products and Spalding Labs. Retired Racehorse Radio is your guide to the adoption, care, and training of the retired racehorse. Brought to you in cooperation with Retired Racehorse Project and New Vocations Racehorse Adoption Program.
On today's show, the tables are turning. I'm in the hot seat to be interviewed by Kristen. This is going to be so fun. Then we'll get back to the training content with New Vocations Amanda Grace and meet a new adoptable horse of the week. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Retired Racehorse Radio.
This is Joy Orr in Detroit, Michigan.
And this is Kristen Kovach-Bentley in Jamestown, New York, and you're listening to Retired Racehorse Radio.
I want to have lots of horsey content, Kristen, and I just don't. I don't.
That's
I'm
all right.
in the trenches of being a mom. My horse is feral, but she's loving it. I'm not loving the burrs she's been acquiring over the winter.
Oh, why? Like, I don't mind keep finding them too. And I'm like, where? Like, these should be dead and gone by now. I don't know.
Where did they go?
Like, they're on a dry lot. And I'm like, where are these coming from? They're like, I don't know. It's Velcro.
Like,
so, yeah, I get
is
it.
there a version of a Lion, Witch, and a Wardrobe, but instead of Narnia, it's just a burr patch they travel to?
Oh, God, don't tempt them because they'll find a portal to somewhere. Like, I don't even know where mine would go, but they'd figure it out and be like, we're free. And then be like, we're not suited to freedom. Please take us back. And
I don't mean to be negative, but like I have to pick of my battles, right? Like if it's not burrs, it's clover drools. Like
okay, to be fair, we're all coming out of that deep freeze. I think everybody would like clover drools right now.
That's so true. You say that though until you're like getting the bit in the horse's mouth and just pools come out and you're like, ugh. I feel like that's an episode we should do is talk to a vet about like clover drools and those fun like little allergies.
Oh, we should talk about that. Yeah, because Jabber gets grass mumps in the fall and it looks really scary until you figure out what it is. And that one's always kind of fun to talk about.
All fun names as well. Clover drools and grass mumps. Things to look forward to in the spring.
I feel like we just invented like I don't want to say our stripper name. It's our stripper names. It's fine. You can be Clover Drool. I'll be grass mumps.
Sounds good. Top dollar for those types of things. Also sounds like great racehorse names. Really depends on your audience.
Okay. Yeah, that was smarter. We should go with racehorse names. You know, I'm not going to timestamp. I'm going to let that one stay in. That's a little fun, a fun treat for listeners.
I know. So. There you go, listeners. The behind the scenes of Kristen and I as we embark on
how our brains work.
Yes. But it's like I miss riding, and my goal is to get back into it in the spring. But it feels so far away. Like when I saw the groundhog saw its shadow, not that I truly, really believe in that, but I also thought, like, what does a groundhog taste like? Because I'm angry at this groundhog for telling me this.
I bet it's not good.
No,
I've tried squirrel and rabbit, and squirrel's okay. Rabbit, I thought was a little odd, and I cannot imagine that groundhog is very good either. In case anyone wants to know these things.
If anyone knows, please message me. Out of curiosity.
And they're a big rodent, so
they're a big rodent and they're full of anger. And I don't think things full of anger typically taste good. But who's to say? Who's to say? But how's your horsey winter going? Because I think I'm just going stir crazy. And I see all these like Florida horses doing the thing. And
yeah, like even like my farrier is able to get her horses out and she's lunging them in the snow. And I'm like, that'd be great. I've really kind of I used to be a lot more motivated to try to find creative ways to get the horses out. As our farm ages, like the farm where we keep the horses, like the infrastructure around us is aging and things are not working the way they used to. So like the gate I used to be able to go in and out, like I cannot anymore. The other gate I could use, it will fall off its hinges if like I push it through deep snow. So then I'm trying to hold one horse to get it out and keep the other two back, and the gate is not attached anymore. So like there's just some things where I'm like, it is just easier to not try to do this. The driveway is kind of inconsistently plowed. So some days there's a good snow base and other days it's like scraped down to the ice and then nobody can get anywhere. So it's just easier for me to like mentally be like, we're done in December and we'll pick up again, hopefully in March. We'll see. So I've just, in the past couple of years, I've just sort of like installed that wall to be like, nope, no work with horses will be done. And that is okay. The horses don't seem to mind. So yeah, we'll get them back into shape again. So
yeah. Well, that'll be fun. I think there is like something to it though, coming out of winter. You get the first like real sunny day, that real warmth, even though when you're in the north, that might only be like 45 or 50 degrees. It feels like 70 degrees when you are from the north.
Oh, absolutely. I had my office window open yesterday. It doesn't hurt that this house gets so hot upstairs. So like right now, like we're recording, I have my door shut and I've stripped down to a t-shirt because I will die if I leave my sweater on. But I had my window open and it's the first time I've had windows open in the new house. So I was like, oh, what are the sounds of the house? And I was like, oh, there's pine trees like just off the corner of this property. So when the wind blows through those, that's quite nice. And I was like, this is lovely. Like, this is very zen, very serene. And then I realized we lived behind the fire hall and it was bingo night. So then someone's car alarm started going off. So that was not quite as nice. But I was like, sounds of the neighborhood. So,
yeah.
But that was delightful. And then hilariously, like we still have a pretty good snowpack, but we got like a mini thaw in that weather. And then that all refroze. So now like our driveway is a sheet of ice again. And right before this recording, Eric and I switched jobs today. So he went to feed the horses and I was like, well, I will walk the dogs. So I went out on the cross country skis. And let me tell you, when there's a little bit of ice out there, you can really get ripping on those things. And I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, like going down a hill. And I was like, I'm about to die. And I'm going to have to call Joy and be like, hi, I broke my leg. I'm in the back of my field. I will not make the recording on time. But I did not fall down. So gold medal Winter Olympics for me.
Yeah.
Now a champion cross country skier. Yeah, I wish I had a GoPro because I actually a couple times I was like, I am going so fast, and then I was like, oh no. So yeah, gonna petition again for the retired Racehorse Radio traveling GoPro that we ship from you to me to Lee. Yeah, take turns with that.
Getting all the fun content. I mean, my fun contacts could be seeing what I look like riding after not riding for like a year.
Yeah, with your core muscles were definitely doing other things.
They were doing other things. And actually, it wasn't even the core strength that makes me nervous. Like, surprisingly, and for anyone who has had a child, please don't come at me. I did not do anything for this in particular. Just don't come at me. I didn't have any like core splitting, and my core actually was still very strong post babies.
Oh, well, good for you. It's stronger than mine, having no babies at all.
Yeah. So I don't know how that worked. I don't have a secret sauce for it. I apologize for anyone who's had kids and is telling me to shut up right now. It is what it is. But my fear was like, I was so off balance because my stomach grew out like forward in front of me that I was like, I can't get on a horse just from the fact my weight distribution is so crazy. So I'm more nervous about my hips staying together and like relearning what equal feels like for not being equal for so long.
That'll be interesting. I'm like really interested to kind of just hear like how that goes.
I imagine I'll look like many of my beginner students, like just a stack of potatoes or drunk, whichever definition you want to use. But I'll try to get that footage, and I will also share how sore I am after. I'm not looking forward to that first ride back soreness.
I mean, me neither, if it helps. Like, I will have not ridden now for probably 4 months by the time we get back to it. So,
yes. Yes. So when you listen to that episode, all listeners will know because we'll be groaning.
Yeah, we will be having a rough time. Which baby is with us today?
We have Helena. She is aggressively corn cobbing my finger and thinks it's hilarious. So you might hear some baby giggles in this podcast today.
Fun. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's fitting because our guest of honor today is you, because a while ago we did one of those where you interviewed me and I was like, someday we're going to switch the tables on this. And I was like, you know what? This is the perfect time. So I'm excited for that.
Oh, I'm like both excited and somewhat nervous because you have not prepped me for questions.
Nope, sure haven't.
Listeners will be getting this very real-time reaction. So anything's on the table. I'm excited. That's right, Helly. It's going to be a good time. But before we get into my interviews and any embarrassing stories I might share, we're going to hear from our premier sponsor, Kentucky Performance Products.
Do you want to help ensure your breeding stallion's reproductive efficiency? Do you want to make sure your newborn foal has the strongest immune system possible? Studies show that supplemental vitamin E can support a stallion's sperm cell quality and motility and offset the effects of stress associated with breeding. They also show that foals of mares supplemented with vitamin E have more responsive immune systems than those that weren't. Elevate Natural Vitamin E can help. A research-proven, powerful antioxidant, Elevate maintains healthy muscle, nerve, and immune functions. It does this by delivering a highly bioavailable source of natural vitamin E that is preferentially absorbed and retained in a horse's tissues. For more information, visit kppusa.com or call 859-873-2974. Just before we turn the recorder back on, Joy, you were like, I'm a little nervous. And I was like, well, I gave you the same spiel that we give all of our guests, which is it's a free-flowing conversation between horse girls. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, you've been here. This is your show. You let me on it. But you got the spiel now. So now you know. Ladies and gentlemen.
It was a test and passed.
No, so, okay, a while ago, like years ago, you put me in the hot seat and interviewed me. And it is time to turn the tables because we actually really haven't done this. And obviously, like listeners, hopefully listeners that are listening have been with us for a while. If you're new here, then welcome. You have picked the most unhinged episode to join us on, but
really
we're happy to have you. But also then this is a great intro because you're going to get to know Joy. And by extension, because I'm the unhinged one doing the interview, you'll also get to know me. So welcome back to Retired Racehorse Radio. We have with us today co-host Joy Orr in the hot seat.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. I don't know why I'm nervous. This is so silly, but here we are.
It's different to be on the other side. Like I know you're literally in the same seat you're always in, and so am I, but it's different to be on the other side of the mic. So yeah, we're excited though, because like since you guys started this show, 7 years ago, which is bonkers, by the way. Like I mean,
actually, this episode I think is our 7-year birthday.
Is it really? Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, February 2019 is when we first started. I'm just trying to remember if it was the 10th or the 25th. I think it was the 25th.
I would say it's the 25th because then it makes a lot of sense that we're doing this conversation on the anniversary. So happy birthday, us.
Happy birthday, Retired Racehorse Radio. And yes, we'll have wine and cake.
Right. But I mean, like so many things have changed over those 7 years. I mean, the show has changed, obviously. Like I was not the original co-host. Thank you, Jamie Jennings. Jamie Jennings walked so I can run madly in 600 different directions. I mean, like our horse lives have changed. Like the world in which we're operating with thoroughbred aftercare has changed. I mean, we say thoroughbred aftercare because that is the majority of what we focus on, but also standardbred aftercare has changed. The other breeds, like it's really like we're at a little bit of an inflection point in thoroughbred aftercare. So it is really interesting to look back and see everything that's different. But rather than doing a 7-year overview of thoroughbred aftercare, I am just curious to, let listeners get to know a little bit more about you, Joy. So take us back to the beginning. Where was your start with horses?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was born into it and it sounds so luxurious, but truthfully, it wasn't. So you think being born into a barn of 15 horses ready to go at your disposal sounds super romantic and amazing. And it was in a lot of ways, but there was also a lot of work involved with that right away too. I quickly learned the work horses came to as soon as I was able to pick up a pitchfork. So my parents had Arabians and we had a couple of paints as well. My dad was really into this concept of the Pentavian breed that he thought would take off. It didn't. But that was his dream, was to breed these Pentavians. So we had a couple studs, we had several mares, and then a couple babies that we ended up keeping, our lovely geldings, as we would. And I started Western initially. That was what my dad really enjoyed. My mom was a saddle seat rider, never got into it. For those who love it, I support you. The seat was too flat for me. I sat in a Western saddle first, and it really changed comfort for me. And then, I rode for a long time, took a couple breaks here and there as you do as you're figuring out yourself as an adolescent. But there's like a great local barn down the road from our farm. So that gave me some exposure to other things, including my love of dressage, where I went from my 14-2 Arabian to 17-3 Percheron Thoroughbred cross.
Oh boy, that's a big step up.
Yeah, my dad was very angry because we didn't tell him we were going to try this. He showed up to my lesson and he's like, "What is that?"
Okay, I was curious about that actually, like because it is in some ways unusual, if you have all those horses at home to then go and get lessons. So, whose idea was it to try the lesson barn?
The fact that my parents and I don't work well together.
Mm-hmm. Also common in horse families. That's fair.
Strong personalities. And to be able to take lessons from my parents who had very different styles themselves, both of them conflicting when trying to take turns teaching me, we thought it might be best interest to get a non-related third party involved.
That was probably wise.
It was very mature of them.
Yeah, actually, like hats off, because it's the best thing in the world to admit, like, this is not going to work, but it's the hardest thing to do, to be like, hey, you need someone else to do this for you. And, truthfully, right, like excellent horse people are not always the best teachers and vice versa. Like teaching is a separate gift.
Yes, it is. And I love my parents, but not their strengths. Yeah. So I think it was a good overall decision for my parents to do that. And it allowed me to make more friends. I joined our local 4-H. I did one of my favorite adventures was a St. Jude trail ride, and everyone had their little quarter horses. And my instructor thought it'd be great to ride from the barn to the location, which that in itself was a 10-mile trail ride.
Oh my God, that's so far.
Oh, I was so sore because we got up, like tacked up the horses and rode them to the destination. And that was at like 7 a.m. The ride started at 11 a.m.
Jeez.
When we rode with all these friends and made some new friends for the whole day, and then had to ride back, which we tried to find shortcuts, which landed us in several people's like crop fields. And luckily we didn't get in trouble. But yeah, everyone had these little quarter horses and I'm just on this giant Percheron. And I did run into many tree branches. The trail was not designed for us, but we had fun. Her name was Gabby, and she was just the most brilliant 7-year-old ever. So, I got so many good memories going to that barn and getting to interact with others. And it really brought a lot of joy of horsemanship and gave me so many perspectives. Also was kind of like some of my first introduction to thoroughbreds because my parents weren't necessarily big advocates of the thoroughbred. But there were so many at our barn too who were just really cool athletic horses. And my dad loved watching racing, but not necessarily the aftercare side. It was kind of like thoroughbreds are crazy. Don't ever get one, but it's fun to watch them race. That very old school mentality.
Yeah, we grew up in the, early 90s, and that was very much the stereotype at the time, right? Like, because I remember going to the track with, we went to parks with the barn I grew up in, and we would watch the horses go. And then it was like, it didn't even occur to us that those horses could be the same horses that were riding at lessons at home, right? Because they just look like worlds different.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to think too, there were practices happening that are not happening today. Like the beautiful thing about horses is we're always learning to be better. So yeah, there are some pretty vulgar things that happened back in the day in racing, that helped those horses not feel so safe and secure where they're acting out and being a little wild. Luckily those things have changed, but that's what my dad grew up with. And so that was his experience and his bias coming in. So, we would always watch races. He always loved watching the Kentucky Derby. It's the one race he bets on. And yes, I continue that tradition today. Although I have my $50 rule, go back to previous episodes if you want about that whole spiel. And it was just always a pleasure. Although he was more into the Oaks than he was the Derby. He'd always watched the Derby, but the mares, we're very much a mare family. And that's what I think probably instilled my love of mares from an early age, is just being surrounded by them. And I don't know, you quickly see like having a like breeding barn, the maternal nature of mares and how they take care of their foals, and those mares would inevitably take care of me as well in so many ways. And then when they introduce their babies to the herd and we integrate them for the first time, because we never really separated them for long periods. It was kind of like once the foal was kind of healthy and secure and kind of hold their own, like they went out with the rest of the herd pretty quick and really treated it more in that like natural, I guess, herd hierarchy. And we're like, you're going to sink or you're going to swim, but we know mom is going to protect you. Like it's all good. And yeah, you got to watch that. And I would literally come home from school and just go sit out in the pasture and do my homework watching them. Like that part of my childhood was a really, really cool experience to have.
You were like fully immersed.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just watch like their social hierarchy. And I think that's really probably the foundations for how I work with my horses today. And even how I teach is horses are such amazing communicators if you just stop talking.
Right. Which is ironic since we now host a podcast where all we do is talk.
No, all we do is talk. But I get it out with you, but with my horse, I try to be a very good active listener.
I love that. Well, and actually that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you. Like what you have your, philosophy now, which, of course is always evolving as we learn more, but what's been the biggest shift in your equine philosophy over the years from where you started to where you are?
Yeah. I mean, I much like probably most of us, not all of our listeners, I had that very traditional sense of horsemanship of you just make the horse do it. And you would use terms like, well, they're cranky or fussy or difficult if it wasn't getting across. I think through that active listening and realizing horses are pretty docile when they're happy. Even an untrained horse is naturally pretty curious for the most part. By kind of taking those pauses and going, is this pain related? Is this confusion? Especially when I got my thoroughbred, like I realized we were speaking completely different languages for a while. For her coming off the track, which I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later, but I really feel, I was probably in my 20s when I really started shifting my perspective and questioning of maybe I don't need the whip or the spur or the latest technology to push my horse where he needs to go. Like maybe my horse is actually asking for rest, or I've overwhelmed them, or, we need to go back to some basics. And once I started doing that, I was getting light years ahead with my training, and my horses no longer were difficult to catch in the pasture. Like they run up to me, and that was like my Disney princess moment, the first time that ever started happening. They were excited to work with me for the first time. And that was like my aha moment in my early 20s.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So like looking just at, how different our lives have been in the years since I came on as a host, like, I mean, gosh, we've changed a lot of things between the two of us. So like looking back, what was the biggest, or your highest ambition or goal that you ever had with your horse, and how has that changed?
Oh yeah. When I first got Astrid, because I've had several horses in my life, I picked her, honestly, it was a whim. I've talked about it before on previous episodes, but I saw Kyle had posted her picture. He was fostering her from New Vocations. And she was like part of that mare worthy beta sanctuary horse. It was just not even a nice picture of her. Like it was the camera in the trailer. So she's like elongated. It's just kind of her back. And you kind of see her face. But something about her, I'm like, I'm bringing this horse home. Like in my gut, I knew it. And I actually avoided Kyle for 3 months to try to not bring this horse home.
Oh, so you put some thought into that. It wasn't like you called him up and was like, I'm taking this horse tomorrow.
No, I avoided him like the plague. 'Cause he had just gotten his farm in Ohio at the time. And he's like, come and check it out. I was like, no, I can't. I'm sick. No, I have a headache. No, I have to work. Like I did everything to avoid Kyle because I knew I would bring this horse home if I saw her. And when I eventually finally said, yes, I'll come visit because I'm running out of excuses. Like I don't have a terminal illness. I shouldn't joke about that. I finally came over and I was like, I'll come over, but we're not riding. He's like, okay. And I get there and he's literally like, we're going to ride a horse. I was like, okay. And of course it's Astrid. And as soon as I sat on her, it was just like, everything clicked that this horse had to be mine. And I still postponed it another 2 months because I didn't trust myself. And I was like, this is lust. And I had to run away very dramatically. And then she did end up coming home with me. But with her, I had all these aspirations that we would get to second level under dressage. And my biggest goal, honestly, was competing in the new Vocations charity horse show that they run, the thoroughbred one. Right. I wanted to like bring her home like full circle because that's where she started. And I was like, that'd be so fun to compete at that level. And I never had like huge ambitions of, moving up the levels with her. I wanted to challenge myself as a horse. I picked for myself for the first time. All my horses have been picked for me by my parents before that. I never got to pick my own horse. So this is the first one I picked. And then fully having the opportunity to do the training myself, because we would hire different trainers to come in to work with the horses depending, on their age and whatnot, or they would travel for breeding and then keep some of their handling training with those trainers. This one would like fully be mine. And that was what I was most excited about. Now, of course, if you've been a listener for a while, you know that Astrid had a diagnosis of moderate arthritis through her lower vertebrae in her neck. And that has ended our aspirations. But I feel like her communication over the years has helped me pivot more realistic goals before that even happened. Like I realized I was just happy hanging out with her. I was happy to be challenged and build a toolbox with her. She really forced me to get creative and expand my knowledge of horse behavior and psychology and even how my body worked. I started going to the gym more and challenging myself with different ways of exercise. I was like a hard runner, a hard lifter before. I started doing Pilates and yoga, and I actually went to a PT and figured out like weaknesses in my body that were translating into her body because of how I was distributing my weight on her. She really challenged me to think more holistically, and like that became our goal: is how can I be the most holistic rider possible and a partner with my horse.
That's like, I mean, that's such a powerful story. And over how many years? I mean, that's been like, how long have you guys been partnered?
Scooping up a baby. But Astrid and I have been together as long as this podcast has been going. So 7 years.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that's like, I mean, that's quite a change in your relationship from, like, here's our competition goal, and this is not to say that like, oh, people with competition goals are going about it wrong, because you weren't and nobody is. Yeah. Right. But it just is a different kind of relationship.
Like Astrid made it super clear to me, probably within the first year, that she had no competitive goals of her own. Like my Arabian prior, Sabby, she loved to work. That horse could care less about being groomed and pampered on and loved. I mean, she was loved, of course, but she was a workhorse. She's like, let's hop in the trailer and go. Tell me less, do more. And it was nice to have that high drive horse. It pushed me to get better as a rider and have ambition and set goals. But getting Astrid, I was like, I have this athletic off the track horse. Like, we're going to be unstoppable. Astrid's a Barbie horse. Like, she's like, brush my hair, tell me I'm pretty, take my picture. I want treats. Like, it quickly turned into, she doesn't have the drive to go up the levels. Like, I think that also is kind of my aha moment of a horse can't just be athletic. They have to want to do the thing.
Right.
Like, that's your goal too.
Yeah, because it is a partnership, right? Yeah, you can't just be like, oh, this horse has all the building blocks to be great.
Exactly. Like, in my head, I'm like, physically, she could do all the things. There was nothing, well, besides arthritis that we later found out about, but that wasn't there. Like, physically, she was a well put together horse with, all the capabilities. She was young, she was fit, she was a good conformation, but she had no drive. She'd much rather play and be curious and go slower to learn faster. And for her, she enjoyed the conversation of riding more than she liked the ambition of winning.
Do you think you get the horse that you need? Like,
100%.
There's some horse we talk about the cat distribution system, right? Like, oh, the universe decided that so-and-so needed a cat, so they found a stray kitten.
Yeah.
And I would argue that maybe you also get the horse you need when you need it.
It's almost a running joke because I wasn't even horse shopping, Kristen. Like, when I saw her, I had 4 horses at the time to my disposal. Like, the last thing I need is another horse. And I avoided her, right? Like, I mentioned that I avoided meeting her, but something in my guts, like, I need this horse in my life. And she's not just made me a better horseman and equestrian. Like, she opened this podcast. Like, she was the reason I started this podcast. We're friends because of this horse, and the community that's been built is because of this horse, and how I communicate and interact with others is because of this horse, because she's forced me to slow down and really open my eyes and ears more. And I guess I started questioning, like, where else can that be applied?
Well, that segues beautifully into my last question too, which is, tell me about your business, which is named for Astrid.
Yeah. So, because having twins wasn't enough during my for them, I needed to fill the void of horses a little bit more, and I was missing my horse. I started my new business, a new podcast, Astrid and Co. It is named after her. And the way that Astrid helped me find my strength and hone my voice and, I guess, challenge myself. Like, my dad didn't talk to me for like 3 weeks when I brought her home. He's like, you just did a suicide mission bringing this horse home. And he was so disappointed with me. But soon, like, it didn't take long for him to start asking for updates on her. And I think he saw how she built my character and my confidence. And the confidence I learned from her, I started to apply in other places, and it has impacted my career. It's impacted my relationships. Just, I guess, walking earth a little less afraid to take a risk. And I wanted other women to feel they can have that same power. So I'm just sharing the lessons I've learned in that space, whether you're an equestrian and wanting to hone that same type of relationship with your horse or work on your own goals. We would strategically work together to build out a plan and how you can accomplish them in a meaningful way that meets your horse where they're at. Or if you're looking on the non-equestrian side and wanting to find your voice and that feels authentic to you and grow your personal strengths to have the life that you've been wanting to have without it feeling like a huge lift. That's really what Astrid & Co is about. It's just leading from your light and canceling the noise around you so you can listen better to what you need.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, the horse taught you to listen, and now she's paying it forward. She has no idea.
Yeah, she has no idea. She's just literally getting fat in a pasture, not realizing she's changed my whole life for the better.
I love stories like this, right? Where no, you didn't go to, the new Vocations show and compete at second level, but like this horse opened so many doors for you. And I think like these are the kinds of horse stories that, first of all, that we love to celebrate on this show, but I think these are the ones that are actually so much more influential than we give them credit for, right? Like you can say this horse had such a ripple effect on the rest of your life and my life and Jamie's life and listeners' lives, even though they've never met her, like she's the reason we're here. So I love this.
Yeah. Way better than, a 65-cent ribbon.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You would have thought.
Joy, this was a lot of fun. I hope it was not stressful for you.
No,
I loved it. I loved your storytelling. I love getting to know more about you and Astrid, and I hope listeners enjoyed this as well. Listeners, if you liked this segment, shoot us a message. Let us know. My email is Kristen@horseradionetwork.com. You can find Joy at horseradionetwork.com. But I think it's fun every now and then just to, check in with each other and learn more and introduce listeners to that backstory. And yeah, now we can all go home and thank Astrid.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for this, Kristen. This is great.
You know the saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. The same goes for fly control. A single fly can lay up to 800 eggs, and they breed fast. That's where fly predators come in. Fly predators are beneficial insects that kill flies before they hatch, breaking the fly life cycle naturally. No chemicals, no spraying. Schedule your order today and enjoy fewer flies all season long. Learn more at info.spalding-labs.com.
Well, we are bringing it back to some horse training and an adoptable horse of the week with our friends at New Vocations. We have with us today Amanda Grace from the Kentucky branch. Amanda, welcome back.
Thanks so much for having me back.
How is it all going now that it's thawing? Because you guys came out of the same like mega giant gross ice storm that I think most of the country, or most of the eastern half of the country dealt with for the first half of February. So how's it looking now that we're like a few days out?
Yeah, that was pretty traumatizing, but yesterday was 66, so it's pretty much all gone now. Hallelujah. Yeah, it was rough there for a minute. So I even ended up sleeping at the barn for a couple of nights that we would have someone on site to feed horses.
Oh my God. It was that level of okay.
Yep.
Joy and I are like, oh yeah, that looks bad. But we're also from areas that have the infrastructure to deal with stuff like that, like snowplows and salt. So for us, our crews would just get on it. We'd be like, this is inconvenient. But places like Kentucky and, my main office in Maryland, they were struggling, they were stuck places. So.
Oh yeah. None of our staff made it in. We were on the struggle bus. When I finally did leave, it took me 3 hours to do a 20-minute drive. So Lexington struggled.
Wow. Okay, good. Well, good news. It's looking better and brighter now.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Which does make today's training question feel a little bit extra, right? Because when you're working that hard just to keep horses alive, the last thing you're thinking about is how do we keep conditioning moving forward? But if people find themselves in this scenario where even now, right? You're out of the danger zone. You don't have to worry about how do we get horses fed, but maybe your arena's not in great shape. It's still full of ice. Maybe your paddocks aren't in good shape, so you can't turn out. How can you keep horses sane and also maybe somewhat conditioned and somewhat exercised when you cannot physically get them out of the barn?
Yeah, absolutely. We did have 4 days straight where they stayed in, which is tough. It's tough when you're a 2-year-old racehorse.
Oh my God.
It is a great bonding experience because I got to know them on a whole different level after, living there with them and being inside cooped up with them for, 48 hours. So it is a really great way to get to bond with your horse and you're not just worried about getting on and riding. But now that we've come out of it, our indoor is beautiful, but our outdoor is still frozen solid.
Okay. So you are going to be kind of stuck like this for a while.
So, yeah, and I love riding outdoors. So our strategy right now is we can ride outside because the ground is frozen, but we're not going to do any kind of speed work. We're not out there, cantering around or jumping. So it's a really great time to focus on really basic stuff. Today we were working on pull work. So we just at the walk, just doing different pull exercises because the ground's too hard to do anything too strenuous on, but we can still go out there and we can walk and we can step over logs and do nice slow, steady and work on leg yielding and that kind of stuff. So more purposeful, slow work is what we've been focusing on this week.
I like that. Now, like in a pinch, do you think like if you're really stuck somewhere for a while, like could you do any of that like in hand in the barn aisle? Like if you've got a nice wide enough barn aisle, like you guys have a beautiful barn. I feel like you guys would have space to do this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So when they were all cooped up, I mean, it was sheet ice outside. So we were even just hand walking them around inside the barn just so they could stretch their legs. So being able to do some kind of groundwork. Last year, my horse that I was getting ready for RRP, we worked with like pool noodles and stuff like that just inside the barn. Like we could do some desensitizing and play some fun games and do carrot stretches and work on the ground and keep that, because it's not just the exercise, their brains also, they don't want to be cooped up for days. So getting them to think about other things and do other things is really useful too.
That's such a good point too. Like a lot of like thoroughbred training in particular, to a limited extent, the standardbreds too, but especially these thoroughbreds, like you can't lunge the silly out of them, right? Like they'll just keep running in circles around you. But if you can find a way to work their brain, then you're engaging a whole different side of the horse. And then suddenly things don't seem so bad anymore. So I like that approach.
Yeah, they can get bored so easily. So just being able to do fun activities and play with the pool noodles or the jolly ball or do kind of some exercises out in the barn aisle is so great for their brains.
I love that.
It's kind of evocative of when I had a young border. I now have a very old border collie who is happy to just nap all day. But there were definitely some winters early on where I was like, how do I keep this thing entertained? And very similar. You're like, okay, let's do some brain work.
Yeah, that's me right now with a 9-month-old German Shepherd high drive puppy of getting very creative because it's too cold to go outside to run our energy. So we have to
work those brains.
Slower things to do.
Exactly. Yep. We're going to exhaust them mentally if we can't exhaust them physically.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of clever young horses, tell us about our adoptable horse of the week, because this looks like the sweetest little guy. I keep saying little guy. He's not super little. He's that perfect sweet spot size. But tell us about this horse you guys are calling Jake.
Yes, Jake. I also call him Cat sometimes. He is unnamed. He wasn't the most successful guy at the track, but he has a heart of gold. He just is the sweetest, and he does come across like a sweet little pony, even though he is a big guy. He's just so sweet. He's so mellow, and he's just happy to be here. We really enjoy working with him. He's really quiet, even though he's only 2. He's an old soul, and he's got any horse that has Kitten's Joy in, I really love working with. They just have such a great mind. So he definitely personifies that Kitten's Joy personality for sure.
I've heard a lot of good things. I've never worked with one, but I know a lot of people really look for them for sport careers.
I mean, there's joy in the name, of course.
Yeah, that one's for you, baby. So, and let's see, he's a level 1, so best suited for a low impact career, has the brain and attitude to be a stellar trail horse. And he would be such a good looking trail horse too, because if you guys like cleaning socks, he has got 4 matching white ones and very cute blaze too.
Yeah.
This is like one of those blazes with personality.
Yeah, and it goes all the way down his nose. You just want to boop his little nose. But yeah, he's so smart and he's so quiet because he did get a soft tissue injury at the track that has limited him to a lower level career, but he loves the trails and he loves plodding along. So he's looking for someone that just wants to have a steady Eddie out on the trails and just go have some low key adventures with.
Oh, he is charming. He's got a great hip on him too. He has like a very quarter horse looking. Actually, his whole body. This is a built little guy.
Yeah. He fill out so nice. Like he reminds me of like a very cute hunter type, but he honestly could go so many directions. It looks like.
Yeah, just flying around and have a good time.
Mm-hmm. He's just happy to be here. He's happy to do whatever.
Oh, love him. All right. And I see he is currently on sale. I think this is your Valentine's Day
This is our
special,
Valentine's
right?
sale.
Okay.
Yep.
So that'll be over by the time this episode comes out. So if you guys waited too long, is there another sale coming up maybe in the spring or anything else coming down the pike there people can look forward to?
Yep, we will have a spring sale and then we'll have our summer sale as well. So if you missed this one, make sure you get your applications in so that you're pre-approved for the next one that you see that you like.
Oh, love it. Well, this guy looks ready to be someone else's Valentine. Hopefully he's not adopted by the time this episode drops, because I think you guys really all need to get down to Lexington and check this guy out. Super cute.
Yes.
Amanda, remind the good folks where they can find Jake and all of the other great adoptable horses at New Vocations.
Yes, absolutely. You can hop online, go to newvocations.org, and under the horses tab are all of our horses all the way across the country. So you can search by facility or by standard bred or thoroughbred and find your perfect match.
Love it. Get those applications in, folks. You can find our show notes and links to today's guests on the website at horseradionetwork.com. Like us on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Retired Racehorse Radio. Follow the network on Twitter at Horse Radio. You can find me on Instagram and Threads at The Horseback Writer, and you can follow along with our new farm adventures on Instagram at Painted Forest Farm. My email is kristen@horseradionetwork.com.
You can find me on Instagram at Misfitmare, and my email is joy@horseradionetwork.com. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Kentucky Performance Products, Spalding Labs, and HRN, and to our partners, New Vocations Racehorse Adoption Program and the Retired Racehorse Project. Don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network, part of Equine Network, at horseradionetwork.com. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, as it helps us grow and you stay in the loop. Remember to set your goals high and love to learn from every ride.
And as always, cowside leg.
Bye, guys.